Hey, welcome to my channel. Hi, this is Shar, and this is not the other title. This is your recap auntie. I am your recap auntie. The other title was way too damn long. Hey, this is Shar, but I still got my MUMU review, baby. Hi, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my content for more fun reviews and reactions and recaps. I'm going to be doing recaps. Anyway, hey, y'all. How y'all doing? I know it's been a while. I'm in a play. I'm having rehearsals, so my videos might be a little bit here and there, up and down, left and right, black. It's going to be like that for a little bit until I start my show in March. So have rehearsals. Really grateful for the opportunity to be in the show. But anyway, it is not about the show. It is about Mr. Luther Vandross. Or Vandross, however way you want to call it. His movie, Never Too Much, y'all. I missed it back on, when was it? New Year's Day. I missed it because I was having some celebrations, bringing in the new year right. And I forgot. I didn't really forget, but I was like, man, hopefully they played it again. And they did wind up playing it on CNN, and somehow I missed it again. I think I might have been starting rehearsals or doing something, forgot it. So I said, this time, Oprah didn't let me down, baby. I'm going to make sure that I look at Never Too Much because I am and have always been a Luther Vandross fan. Luther took me on so many journeys in my teenage years, especially his Here and Now album. I love that album so much. The creeping and how the transitions from each song. I am a fan, y'all. And just to hear all those old songs, it just brought back so many memories. So I just wanted to give just a quick recap of what I thought the whole Luther film was. That thing was 2.5 hours long with commercials. With commercials, baby. So I watched it twice. I watched it just for pure enjoyment. And then the second time I watched it so I could take some notes. So you know me, how I like to break down stuff. I couldn't break down between Fonzie and Robin and everybody, so I'm just going to go in order of the film as best as I can. And no, we ain't going to be on here for no 2.5 hours. So y'all already know I got my handy dandy notebook, laptop, to take my notes and go over my notes with you. And it started off with him doing rehearsals for his 1991 concert with his background singers singing Ain't No Stopping Us Now. We gonna move. Yeah, we did that. So he said it was one of his favorite songs. I never knew that. And then we hear Don Cornelius, who was the former host, producer, creator of Soul Train, introduce him, Mr. Luther Vandross. Yes. So then they showed all of these old school footages about little girls. I'm a 1971 baby. Y'all, when we used to go outside, we would dress up. Unless you was a tomboy like me and you, little jeans and stuff. But little girls used to wear like dresses just to jump rope outside. Mothers would go to the grocery store with their dresses on and they stockings and they, loafers and shoes. It was so cute back then. So they showed this old footage. It was cute. So we see him on the Joan Rivers show. Joan Rivers is an older comedian. She passed away too. And she was asking, how poor were you? Did you know you was poor when you was a child? Joan, really? Did you really ask that man that? It's like, would you have asked Robin Williams that? It's like, why in the hell did you want to ask Luther? Luther was like, no, bitch. No. If we were poor, I didn't know. Because we had so much love. We had so much attention in the house. We didn't know if we were poor or if we weren't poor. We just knew that life was great growing up for me. That's what he told her. He fixed that quick. So we see him, we see that he talked about how much he loved the Motown. He was a Motown lover. He loved the Supremes, the Temptations, everybody. So they show Miss Dinah Ross, you can't. You know Miss Dinah Ross with them bony shoulders. She was singing, You Can't Hurry Love. So he used to love them so much that if he got in trouble, his mama would make him wash the dishes and make sure he did all his chores. Or your ass wasn't going to watch no S. Sullivan and no Supremes, baby. You need to Supreme your butt in that kitchen and wash that bowl that you had that cereal in. And that's what he did. So he used to love them so much. So his BFF was named Fonzie Thornton. I haven't heard the name of Fonzie since Happy Days. That's an old show. He met him and when he was 15 years old. Luther used to call Fonzie at night while he was watching the show, and he used to drag Florence, who was part of the Supremes. He was like, honey, did you see how Florence missed that step? So he was really, really into the performance side of the ladies. Then we meet Robin Clark. She met him in the 11th grade. They all used to love doing music and singing together. Then we met his next BFF, which was Carlos. He was a Hispanic gentleman, but he looked, looked like me. He looked black. Who he was talking about how when he met Luther, he would have composition books full of music. It was filled to capacity with all these lyrics that Luther had. And so he liked Diana Ross because she was sharp in how she led a song. But to me, her glamour was more strong to me. I mean, she wasn't the best vocalist. Y'all seen Dreamgirls. You know how Diana was. Diana knew how to woo a crowd because she had the look. But her vocals, Luther, I didn't know he was born in the Bronx. I really didn't know that. That was surprising to me. So the name of his first group was called the Shades of Jade. That was his first band. And so it was Luther, it was him, it was Carlos. They had a drummer, and I can't remember if Robin was in it either. So he wanted them to be in uniform. So he was like, man, if you're going to be in uniform, baby, you got to get these green patent leather loafers. They $23. And so Fonzie was like, his mama wasn't finna give him no $23. Not for no green patent leather shoes when she could have used that for some groceries. And Carlos was Puerto Rican. He said that Luther came to his mama house and said, but his mama didn't speak English at all. Carlos's mama didn't speak English at all. So Luther tries to speak English, was like, en importante, zapatos, señora, muy los zapatos verde green, Taco Bell. I had the Taco Bell at the end, but you get it. In any case, she understood what he was saying, and so she was like, take him. So Fonzie said that Luther has so much bossness in him that after he talked to his mama was like, boy, take these $25 and go and get them shoes. I'm like, Fonzie, you know them shoes were 23. What you do with that change? Because back then, even when I was little, my dad, when I was younger, we could go to the grocery store and pick up cigarettes for our parents. They didn't ask for no ID. So I remember me standing at the register, and it was a Chinese man standing there looking down at me, and I could ask, can I have a pack of Newports? He would give it to me. He didn't ask for no age or nothing, but I had to make sure I came back with some change. So I'm sure Mama made sure he came back with some change, baby. Okay, he loved Riri. He loved the Queen, Aretha Franklin. He loved her tone, he loved her range, and he loved her versatility. He studied the Sweet Inspirations. I need to listen to them because they look like they could sing. He also loved Dionne Warwick. Side note, Tiana Taylor, yes, Tiana Taylor needs to play Dionne Warwick. I'm so happy that Dionne said that she wants Tiana Taylor to play her because I can't see nobody else doing that. And I cannot wait to see that movie because Dionne, honey, one of her videos, baby, she was sexy. She was sexy. She's my sorority sister too, but she was sexy. She had her little cat eye shades on, and she got up. She was very, classy. She kept it together. Oh, never mind. Anyway, she was the song that we saw her sing the first time on the film was called "You Can Call Me," was playing, and she was looking all stunning and luxurious. So next we see Heavyset Luther on Heavyset Oprah show. And she asked him, when did you know that you wanted to sing? He said, I was 13 years old. And he went to go see Dionne sing at the Brooklyn Fox Theater. And he wanted to affect people the way Dionne did. Yeah, he did do that. He definitely did. So I was saying, she was having on her cat sunglasses, baby. And she was wearing her bodysuit showing body. And I was like, oh, honey, hush. Go ahead, Dionne. You was sexy. Sexy. Had her bouffant boo and everything. Anyway, Robin talked about the Apollo Theater, which is on the 125th Street. My auntie, who lives in Harlem, I used to walk around the corner. It was walking distance from her apartment to the Apollo. I don't remember ever going in the Apollo, but I remember hearing a lot of music playing in the streets, and that's what she said. Robin said. She said that she would hear Motown music blasting in the streets. Now, when I was up there in the 90s, you would hear more R&B and you would hear more rap, hip hop playing in the streets. So that is definitely true. So Luther was in a group called Listen, My Brother. Yes, y'all better sing. They meant that shit. Which was managed by someone from the Apollo Theater. So they would see all of the artists that came there for free because for being in the group, because they didn't have to pay, because they were pretty much being they were under the management of someone at the Apollo. So they would sing their song, Listen, My Brother, We got to do what you got to say. I don't know what this, whatever. So they were pointing at the television, and it was about 10 of them, 10 vocalists in a band in the back, and they remind me of the Bubbling Brown Sugar from What's Happening. If you watch What's Happening, you know the kids that were singing Bubbling Brown Sugar. The girl with the big teeth in the front. Yeah. So they were singing, and they really meant that thing. They would buck at you. I love that one. That was really cool. They sang songs about being young, gifted, and black. So one of their rehearsals, the manager told them that somebody was coming to come see them. And girl, honey, it was Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. And I think he was the original creator of Sesame Street. He said, well, look, I want y'all to come and sing for this new children's show that we got. And we think that y'all will be perfect. So they mentioned about it, and they wanted to be on TV, so they was excited. So they sang the song that says about you got to learn something was their song, and Luther and Robin were right in the front. You can see them singing, and says a man can play a song if there's no melody. Then Robin says a girl can't bake a cake now if there's no recipe. The man can't sing a song, ain't no melody, and a girl can't bake a cake now if there ain't no recipe. A man can't build a house, but on the caption it said HOHO house. It said ho 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 house. I was like, closed caption. Okay. If you can't cut a tree and you can't learn something, you got to learn something. You got to learn something. So Carlos tells us that Sesame Street was actually Harlem. If you looked at how the set of Sesame Street was built, it's the brownstone, it's the steps, it's the garbage. That's Harlem. And I know that to be true because, again, some summers I would go and spend some time with my auntie, and yeah, that's Harlem all day. So Carlos also says that if there's going to be, then they said that if they're going to be singing on there, then they got to sing the ABCs, and they ain't going to be the A, B, C, D. It ain't going to be that. It got to have some funk. It's got to be some soul, and it's got to be swinging. And honey, they funked that thing up. They were like preaching and rapping, singing the ABCs. Please don't ask me to sing because I don't remember. But it was really, really funky how the way that they did it. So Luther and two other guys had to climb up the steps while they were singing because this was live. It wasn't like it was a recording or they were doing a voiceover or lip syncing. They had to sing it live. And I can't lie, Luther was big Luther then. He was young. That baby, like, he was struggling, turning around and getting up them stairs and pulling up his britches and making sure he was, because everybody else was slim. But that baby, like, he was struggling up them stairs. They said that being heavy and black back then was seen as a problem. And back then it was, Back then you had, Fred Rerun from What's Happening. If it was a fat guy, either he could sing, he could dance, he had to be entertaining. And that's how they had Luther. But Luther carried it with pride. I don't think he had an issue with it until maybe later on. But anyway, 1969, Luther went to Kalamazoo to go to college, and he hated it. He only went 1 year. He didn't think that he would get accepted. But he was a B student. He told people that he was a B student, but we felt that he was probably way smarter than that. So he was doing well because, but he would also call his friends at Listen My Brother to see what they were singing, to see what they were up to. He really, really missed home. So later he tells us that, when I say he tells us, that he's talking to us. It's a voice over. He tells us that he went there for 1 year and he didn't want to go back his second year because he really did not want a plan B. It was just plan A and that's it. He didn't want a plan B. It's going to be either this or I'm going to be 80 years old and still trying to do it, which I thought that was so passionate and so freaking dope of him to focus on his career that much. He told his mama, like, Mama, I ain't going back to college. She was like, fine. And then he was surprised that she didn't fuss at him about it. Then he later found out that his dad was a singer. His dad was really great, but great vocalist, and that's why his mother didn't buck against it. So his dad died when he was 8 years old, so he never really knew that his father had a singing voice like that. So we see this Philadelphia montage of the Philly sound. It talks about Philadelphia sounds, the great groups that came out of Philly, like the OJs, Gamble and Huff, the 3 Degrees. When will I see you again? Yes! They was on Sanford and Son a long time ago. They really do bring a smile, really, really bring so much joy listening to that old song. And then, the OJs, they smile in your face. All the money won't take your place. Backstabbers. Hey, backstabbers. Yes. So Danielle Smith talks about how the Philly sound was like Motown. However, it stripped off all of their tuxedos because Motown was very prim and proper and plush. Philly sound was more gut wrenching, and you could wear your afro. You could scream if you want to. You better sing if you're gonna get that Philly sound. Motown, they wasn't like that. They was very together and step and in sync with each other. They had to be pretty. You know how Diana, but when it came to Motown, baby, came to Philly sound, no, you didn't have to do that. And it was a vibe that they had. So so a montage of them, like the OJ singing, and it talked about how Motown was very giving, like we have to match it, and then at midnight we go home. But when it came to Philly sound, no, we ain't get the match. If we do, we're gonna sweat it out, and then we're gonna spend the night. We ain't rushing home. So they show Ellie Levert wearing this Flash Gordon outfit with the big old shoulder pads, singing "You Are My Sunshine, You Are My Sunshine." It was cute. It was cute. So executive Mr. John Platt says that the Philly sound was more to the point. You got deep into the Black experience when it came to the Philly sound, which is true. Then we show Mr. David Bowie. That we hear a lot of UK artists who say that the Black sound of the United States really encouraged them. A lot of people named their groups after some of the titles of the songs that we have. I forgot what name the group, one white group. Cannot remember the name of it, but they named their group after the title of one of the songs by Howlin' Wolf. I can't remember. I'm sure if you know, please put it in the comments below. But Mr. David Bowie, Mr. Mick Jagger, they loved our sound, especially the Philly sound. So in 1972, Mr. David Bowie calls Carlos, which remember he was one of Luther's BFFs, to ask him to come and do a session. So back then, what they would do was like, if you call one, everybody come, especially if they need background vocals. So Carlos was like, I got Robin, I got my dude Fonzie, I got Luther, we're going to come. So that's how Luther was able to be one of the background vocalists for David Bowie. So David loved Luther's voice. He was fresh. He was young. The name of the song was like taking it all the way right. Taking it all the way right way in the back. I don't know. I don't know why I wrote this down. Taking it all the right way. Giving it in the back. I think that's how it went. I can't remember. But I thought that was really interesting. You're going to take it away. Take it all the way in. No, taking it all the right way. Give it in the back. Okay, David really embraced the sound listening to Young American. The harmonies were so amazing on that song. So he gave all vocal arrangement credits to Luther. Like Luther's name is all over that album. So Luther had his own group called Luther and called Funky Music. It was a pretty nice song, but I didn't know, I would have known that it was Luther's voice, but I didn't know it was his group. So Luther tells us that David will let him go on the stage and perform, like do a 30-minute set of his own music. And the people was like, Bowie, Bowie, Bowie. They was like, get out the way. We don't know this black man. We waiting for David. So of course the crowd was screaming and hollering for David. So David told Luther, he was like, look, no, Luther said, David, if you're trying to kill me, man, just use an axe. Don't use me like that. You know what I'm saying, man? So David was like, look, no, you need to understand that you're getting a chance to sharpen your tools while you have a chance, because get out there and it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. You won't regret it. So then Luther was introduced to Bette Midler, which is one of my favorite artists. I love me some Bette Midler. I really do. So his idea of really adding all of the costumes and the theatrics on stage had a lot to do with being inspired by Bette. She had him dressed up in top hat and suits and had her female backup singers dressed in wedding gowns. It's like Bette Midler had a whole production when she was dressed in a mermaid suit, and they did choreography in wheelchairs in a mermaid suit. But that was just how Bette Midler used to be and still is, I believe. So he was able to get that with her, and Fonzie tells us that Luther sessions helped him to do great on tours with Dave and Bette. Then we come back to, we hear him singing, everybody look around, there's a reason to rejoice, you see. And so I was like, what is, oh, yes, I forgot that he wrote Brand New Day for The Wiz, 7-time Tony Award winning show, The Wiz. Now that's what it was back then. Of course, they won more Tonys now, but back then it was 7-time Tony Award winning show, The Wiz. And he wrote Brand New Day. Side note, I was in The Wiz here locally back in 2019, and I played Ada Pearl. She was like the in-between witch, kind of quirky, but you know, pretty fun. Again, I'm an actress. Okay, so yeah, he wrote that, and so he was singing the song. He was just sweating, baby. He had his cream suit on, baby, and that brown butterfly collar. The collar reached to right here. I was like, poor Luther. Them lights can be. Oh my God, it could be horrible. So he sang the soul version, and it sounded really, really good. So his niece, I think her name is Savita, said that he had a vision, but it took a long time before he was able to gather a deal, which you wouldn't think so. But remember, he was more so of a vocalist background. He was a background vocalist, so he really didn't do a lot of solos. He had his group and stuff, but no, it didn't work out for him. So we see Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers is one of the founders of Le Chic. As a matter of fact, side note, I believe my father said that he used to date one of the girls in Le Chic. They've changed so many times. I'm like, Dad, which one? But he ain't here, so I can't ask him. But he did say he used to date one of the girls from Le Chic. So they talked about recording 1977. Everybody dance. Do clap your hands, clap your hands. Yes. So he came in and he offered his vocals on that. Luther did that. He brought his singers in too, so he did the backgrounds for that. He also did the backgrounds for Freak Out. Let freak. So she Freak Out. He did that too. Luther was the background vocals on that too. Every album that Chic had produced and did, Luther's name is all over. Vocal arrangements, he got credit everywhere. Even on Sister Sledge's album, the We Are Family, he's done vocal arrangements on there as well. So then he went into starting to write jingles, which actually I thought that I wanted to do. Not write it, but I wanted to sing jingles. I still have that desire to do that. I really want to do jingles. I want to hear my voice over a commercial or a commercial. So he wrote jingles for Juicy Fruit Gum, Miller Time, Low and Brow Beer, NBC commercial. He said that his ooh came from a Gino's Pizza commercial. They asked him to do something that was different, that would show how good the pizza would be. And he said he did like a silver snot. I was like, yes. So Valerie Simpson, I don't know if you remember, Valerie Simpson was married to Nick Ashford. He passed away a few years ago. But they used to be called Ashford and Simpson. They wrote Ain't No Mountain High Enough. They wrote that with the Motown back in the day. But anyway, we see Deborah McDuffie, who was a commercial producer. And she said when she heard him sing that ooh in the Geno's commercial, she knew it was a hit. So he didn't want to do any more commercials, and she was very right. He was like, I ain't doing no more, and he didn't do it. But he was getting paid a lot of coins for them commercials. He said it was enough that he would move out of his mammy home, and he got his mammy her own house. I was like, writers win. I'm telling you, everybody want to be in front of the microphone and be glamorous and stuff, but you get all of your coins being a producer and a writer. So he did that. So he was in a group called Change. I used to hear searching for so long, searching. I used to think that was his group. And then the Glow of Love. I thought that was like his solo group. I didn't know that it was a group that he was over. I thought that was his solo album. Never knew that he was with the group called Change. And they wanted to keep him as their lead singer. And he was like, nah, nigga, no. I want to be a producer and I want to be a singer of my own, not just a lead singer of y'all's group. And he did this. So y'all, the next section. Whew, I love me some Roberta Flack. They showed him singing background vocals for Ooh, That's the Time. Hey. Feel like making love to you. He said, feel like making love to you. I was like, sing, Luther, sing. That's the time. Feel like making dreams come true. Oh, baby. Child, I'm going to play that after I get off this recording. I'm going to watch that whole recording. But yeah, he did background vocals for Roberta Flack. We can hear him telling us that he would sing for her if she wasn't there to do like rehearsals, sound checks, mic checks. So he would sing for her. So one day she came in early and she heard him singing. She's like, you needed to be, you are way too good to be on the background, boo. You need to be in the foreground and you need to be making your album. You're fired. Well, he says that she fired him. She says, no, I just told him that he was way too good to be in the background. And she was right. We knew that she was right. She said, I ain't fire him. I ain't do that. So she tells one of his friends that he wants to make his own album because he had a sound in mind. So he said, I want Sissy Houston, which I didn't know. If you don't know who Sissy Houston is, that's Whitney Houston's Miami. Let me make sure my lights are on. Okay. That's Whitney Houston. Why am I looking dark? That's Whitney Houston's mama. So she was on the background. And guess what the song was, that his first song that he made? Never Too Much, Never Too Much, Never Too Much. The name of the movie. I was like, okay. So he took the song to try to take it to have it CBS Records, Epic Records. Everybody turned him down. This was before he presented the song to them. And then he finally did turn it into Epic and they signed him. So I thought that was cool. So, oh my love, hey, 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. Yes, sing Luther. So yeah, that got like 2 Grammy nominations. And it was #1 for 84 weeks in 1981. He did his promo pics and he was pointing at the camera and looking all like this, and you know how they did those promo pictures back in the day. Then they say it slowed him. Well, then they show him wearing this red sequins jacket and just exploded all over the place when it came to his album, his popularity, everything. So then we see him on Soul Train. He sings "Till My Baby Comes Home." He was blowing up all over the place in the 80s. I saw on one of the actual posters that he was here in Charlotte. That's why I live in Charlotte. But I wasn't in, well, my freshman year, 89, I was in Charlotte. I probably could have gone to see him, but I missed that opportunity. And they show his house because Oprah's like, honey, this is what money do for a house, baby. This, if you want a house, be Luther. I'm like, this was clearly before she was making her coins. So Johnny Carson says that he released albums and all of them were platinum. Johnny Carson was a popular late night talk show host. And then we hear jump, jump, jump to it. That was Aretha Franklin. I didn't know he wrote that. I was like, man, his pen was everywhere. So Riri gets her American Music Award, honey. She gets her award with her blonde hair and her titas, you know, up. One thing about Auntie Riri, she really did. She showed her body. Even in her last years, Riri would wear everything cut low down, baby. It would be showing all her titas, baby. She would show it. So anyway, so she was getting her award and she thanked Luther for being one of her producers. And then Dionne Warwick sang. And then we see Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, I think that was Delirious when he was talking about big, fat Luther eating, he was an eating MF-er, eating that KFC chicken. So then we see Luther doing a concert. I guess he was in LA and then I guess Eddie Murphy was there. And so this crazy man, Luther brings out this big old tub of KFC chicken. To say, see, nigga, I know. You can't talk about me without me making fun of me first. You ain't gonna do that. So he brought this thing and he actually started singing the actual jingle from KFC. So he did, you know, have a lot of issues with his weight, but his humor of him making fun of himself kind of overshadowed it. But in the end, either his friends say either he was eating or he was dieting. You can clearly see how much he would gain and how much he would lose. At one point, he did lose 126 pounds. That's a whole damn person. And he tells us that he was an emotional eater. He also said that he didn't like to do He didn't like to do that because he decided he didn't want to do that anymore as far as being an emotional eater. So he decided to not overeat so much. And that's how he slimmed down. So when he was on stage, he said he could move better. He could sing better. His voice actually still stayed the same, but he felt better when he was in a slimmer body. He really looked sexy back then because whatever that song was, he was really looking really yummy. So then we see Jamie Foxx, and I think Jamie Foxx might have been one of the producers on the film because at the beginning it says Foxhole Productions, and that's his production company. Jamie Foxx said that if you ever needed to say something to your lady, Luther said it for you. I mean, all you had to do back in the day, and this is true. This is so true. Back in the day, if you had the radio on, all you had to do was wait for his song to come on the air. Sometimes you can call the DJ and ask for a request, but most times you had to wait for Luther to come on. So he's like, then you get Luther. He was like, finally. So you call your lady. It's like, hey, boo, this is what I'm feeling. And you put the phone to the radio, and then I want to tell you, baby, the changes I've been going through. Missing you, oh. Or let me hold you tight. Yes. If only for one night. Yes. Yes. So Jamie was like, okay, all you gotta do is put the phone to the radio, play that for your boo, and she's listening. And he said 10 times out of 10, baby, it's on. It is what it is. It is what it is. So then he sings Here and Now. We see Luther singing Here and Now, and then on Tommy Davidson you've got Jamie coming out as Ugly Wanda from In Living Color and shows up, and then Luther kind of jokes on, you look like you got hit by a Mack truck. I think that's what he said. I can't remember. So Luther was named Dr. Love. He said he didn't want to be named that. He just wanted to be a pioneer voice of our time, and he really is. So Valerie Simpson, she's like, yeah, you hear a song from Luther, you be ready to go to the bedroom. Then we go back to old Big Oprah with the green contacts. And you hear him singing, and, she getting a little, swervy in the seat, and, hearing him sing. And I was like, okay. And there was a lot of older, people in the audience. So I thought that was cool. And then after that, Luther got into a car accident. One of his best friends died in the car accident. And Luther had 3 broken ribs. He was finally released, and then he tried not to relive that moment. He said he wished that it had never happened. He pled guilty, and food was his medicine. He was supposed to go on tour, but he gained 120 lbs. So he tells Oprah that food was his coping tool for him. He said some people use drugs, but a lot of people use a lot of things. When you're trying to soothe the hurt, then that's what you do. So he said he was going to cancel the tour to be changed his mind. And his 3 background singers, I couldn't remember the other lady's name, and I feel like I shouldn't have did that, but I know Lisa Fisher. How Can I Ease the Pain? Lisa Fisher. So they would show this back in the day video of them practicing for the tour back in 91, and they said that nigga had them doing 10-hour days rehearsals 6 days a week, learning choreography. And then they did an amazing job. They talked about how they did they did like these background rehearsals, and they were just singing, and this just sounded so heavenly. It was just beautiful. So I love Lisa Fisher. How Can I Ease the Pain is one of my favorite songs. So lots of background prepping for the tour. He was a perfectionist on his show. Every night needed to be nailed. So the show that they showed was from the Royal Albert Hall in London. I need to watch that. I'm gonna watch that. The background vocalists were so gorgeous. They look like doll babies with their dresses. They look like princesses. It was green sequins, red, hair was beat, face was, and they was very smooth in how they moved. It was so wonderful. And they were singing The Power of Love. He always wanted to give his audience a show to remember. The costumes, they were Vogue. It was so glamorous, sleek, the best that I've seen. So the dresses were hand beaded, the hair, the swag, it was so gorgeous. He had many design ideas, so he would sketch out what he wanted, and then he would take it to a designer and ask them that's what he wanted. Boom. He wanted the best. Then we show him at a town where he was gathered there with his local fans, and he talks about how he wanted to be more a crossover artist. I mean, of course, he was really high and on top as far as at the black radio stations. Yes, y'all, black radio stations and white radio stations. We didn't really back then cross over except for Whitney. Whitney was one of the first to do it. That's why she was booed at the American Music Awards, because they wanted to say she wasn't black. Anyway, he was only played on the black radio a lot. He was not embraced to do so as other artists. Like he felt that he was pigeonholed as a black singer only and not just a singer. So he wanted to cross over, add new listeners to his repertoire. He had been working on that for a long time with his record company, but they didn't feel like it was going to happen. So he felt that he was treated in a racist way by the executives because the budget was triple for the white artists compared to what they was giving him. I'm like, and they like, Luther ain't dumb. He was a businessman. He knew exactly what hand was paying what hand. He knew it. So he knew what was going on. He wanted to have the ability to be played on black or white stations, or pop and R&B. That's what they call it now. So Clive Davis, honey, talks about some stuff. I'm not going to mention Clive. Clive got some issues that I'm just like, Clive. Okay, someone talked about how he used to go to the record store. And this is true. When you would go to the record store back in the day, the black records were not in the front, or the black tapes were not in the front. They were always in the back corner. And sometimes you would go back there and you would hear the music, because the music would be really staticky on the speakers, or it would be dusty, or she said you would smell mice. I don't know how you smell mice, but it wasn't in the best kept conditions. Or if you went in there, you would always hear white music. You would never hear black over the speaker. So that's how bad it used to be. And now that I think about it, I never thought that going to the back of the store was doing a segregation type of thing when it came to music. I never knew. I just knew that when I wanted to go to the back of the store, that's where the black records were. I never thought about the fact that they were in the front. Or I would ask the people at the store, where's New Edition? Or where is Howard Hewitt? Oh, back there in the back. You know, I never knew that was segregation. You just don't know until you know. So he would always say that he wanted a #1 record, and he always wanted a Grammy. So they go through these sequences of the Grammys. You know, he went against somebody, and Terrence Trent D'Arby won. I wishing well, kissing. The second time he went against somebody, it was Stevie Wonder. Third time, it was Living in America by James Brown. That man, Luther, was nominated 9 times. 9 times. So this particular time, the Grammys were in New York. He asked Fonzie, his BFF, do you want to go? Like, I don't expect for me to win, but you want to go? And Fonzie was like, cool, let's go. So they went and they read the names, and Mr. Luther Vandross won for Here and Now, I think. Yeah, he won for Here and Now. He did. That was in 89-90. I was so happy for him. So he was really shocked. And so Jamie Foxx says that he kept getting better and better, and he should have won all 9 times. But it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes with that. And him going through all of that just purified him and helped him to grow. I thought that was really poetic. Jamie, you smart. So Luther tells us that he tried to do some things that fit people differently. He didn't want to always be kept in a box. He wanted to do things differently. So he loved the songs from the 60s and 70s. So he had this song called Superstar by the Carpenters, which was led by Karen Carpenter. Let me pause real quick. Yes, he had this song by Karen Carpenter called Superstar. And he told his producer that he wanted to record it. And he was like, you talking about the ones from the Carpenters? He was like, yeah, I have a different way I want to sing it. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And so he's like, I want to tell you, baby, the changes I've been going through. Missing you, oh, till you come back to me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. No. Now, I don't sound like Luther, but yeah. Then we hear him sing the song so beautifully. It felt like a symphony. Like I said, I would put Luther in my ears, and he would take me to a place. If I was stressed about school, I didn't have a boyfriend around that time. I was stressed about finding a boyfriend because at that time I didn't think I was cute enough. And I would just lay in my room and just get lost in the melody and the songs and the flutes and just everything. It took me away, and I loved it. It was a packed concert. He serenaded with his vocal genius, and he kept it right there. Yes. So he was covered in sweat. I mean, although it was a slow song, I'm like, them lights would kill you. Or it might have been his weight, because that was bigger Luther. So then we see Miss Mariah Carey, honey. We see the younger Mariah Carey. No Titas was being built then. This was before the children, the twins. Not the twins, but what is it? The two twin, them, Max and whoever, them. So she comes out and they sing. He brings her out to sing Endless Love with him. And oh my God. It was originally recorded by Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. And when I tell you, I'm sorry, they surpassed them. I'm sorry. He tells us that it was Mariah's idea for them to sing that together. She's like, okay, if he said I did it, I did it. She said, but that was little Mariah back then. That's what I'm saying. That was little Mariah, because she would bend, and, you know. Now she's just statuesque. She had the men carry on the stage, and she stands still and sing. She don't do that no more. She don't do all that no more. So then we see him singing Anyone Who Had a Heart. Boom, boom, bum, 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 bum. It was originally by Dionne Warwick. So Dionne was, her voice was amazing. Then he sings it to her at the NAACP Awards, honoring her. A House Is Not a Home. Then we see Jamie. He was like, wait a minute. This man is singing about furniture in this motherfucker. It sounds great. He's like, shit. We in Wayfair in this bed. Jamie had me cracking up. Jamie's a fool. He's a fool. Anyway, 1999, then came hip hop, and it started to like smoke out all of the artists, the R&B singers online. I'm talking online, on the radio. It was hard. It was a challenge for a lot of R&B singers back then. And it got quiet for them, but not as successful. They weren't as successful as before the 90s when hip hop came. So 2001, he signed with Clive Davis, honey, and J Records. And like I said, I ain't gonna say much about Clive. Some stuff gonna come out. His first album he did with Clive was Can I Take You Out Tonight? To the movies, to the park. And let you know, let you see, can I take you out tonight? Yes, that was with Clive. I didn't even know that. He went back to being a platinum artist. See, Clive is good for something. But Clive, what you do to Diddy? What you do to Diddy, Clive? No, everything. Then we show Luther. He's promoting his album on 106 in Park. It used to be a fun show on BET. He was there promoting the album. Now we hear him talking about finding that person, honey. Here we go. He went back on Oprah, and the audience member was like, okay, boo, I'm sitting here wet in my seat right now because you just slew me out. But I have a question. You sang all these millions of songs. What are your two favorites? And he was like, Any Love is definitely my first one, because he says it's as close to an autobiographical picture of his love life or his life. And I speak to myself sometimes and I say, oh my, in a lot of ways you are a lucky guy. No, any love. Yeah, it talked about how he said he found everything but that love. So per Max was his assistant, his personal assistant. Max says that he hated that song because after he worked with Luther, He knew that Luther was just not seeking. He wasn't just seeking love. He was seeking any love. Max still gets choked up, and that was his personal assistant. I'm just using air quotes. All right, Max. He said that God has given him everything but the one. He said he thought that God was playing a trick on him. That's what I think Robin has said, that he felt that God was playing a trick on him. Like, you gave me everything else, but this, God, why? So his friends was like, Nick, we love you. He's like, nah, I know that, but I ain't talking about y'all. I need a love. And after his weight loss, they were saying that after he had this drastic weight loss, it was a rumor that he died and that he had AIDS. And he was like, this is a stupid rumor. And he said, if y'all gonna say I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm a cop to it. Okay, I died. So then he was like saying some pastor, I need to find out who that pastor was who said that everybody was going to stop and do a prayer for him because Luther had died, and he was pissed about that. So he said that he spent more time waiting for love instead of being in love. I was like, God, ooh, that hurts. That hurts. So we hear him singing Wait for Love. Na 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 na. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so Max tells us that he felt sad for Luther because he was not able to share all of himself. I mean, if he was gay, he didn't want to live in that stigma. Then we see the infamous Patti LaBelle interview on Watch What Happens Live with Andy. And she talks about Luther, and she said that his mama might have known, but he would never tell the world because he had a lot of lady fans, and he didn't want to upset the lady fans in the world, which I get it. But when I tell you them people are pissed with Patty, the reason why I know that they're pissed, it was rumored that it's not rumored, it's out there that he was like Patty's like #1 fan. He even created a whole fan club all about Patty. And the fact that she outed him, although he's gone, she outed him. They don't like that. You know, some people like to take stuff to the grave and leave it there. And the fact that she outed him, they shaded her by putting that in the film. And so Fonzie says that he don't know what to say. He said, I'm just going to stand with whatever Luther wanted me to stand on. That's where he wants us to live. I ain't saying shit. Luther says that his sexuality was always in question. He said that he would never deny or confirm any rumors about personal things like that. That's my business. You need to mind your fucking business. Mind it. It don't matter who I mind. Then he says, we see him, that he's a variable, comfortable weight. He looks great. He looks great. He said he felt great. Then right after that, by the time he got into a comfortable weight, we finally found out about his diabetes. And that's the reason why he had been up and down with his weight. You know, when you're a diabetic, you got to be really careful with that. You can't, you jar your system. It doesn't know how to work the sugar through your body. So it can be very dangerous. So his friends and family were really, really worried about how obsessed he was about food. We hear the rumor about the I used to hear about that back in the day before he passed away, that he was so hungry to eat a hamburger, and he didn't have any hamburger buns in the house. So he put 2 donuts together and put a burger in there and fucked that up. Katie Couric was like, how disgusting was that? Katie Couric used to be a news anchor on NBC, and he was like, not disgusting at all. That shit was bomb. Matter of fact, I think they serve it somewhere. I don't know where they serve it at. I don't know if they serve it like at a Bronx restaurant or in Philly. I don't know, but it's on the menu somewhere. Somebody like it. Get that savory and the salty and the sweet together. It was a specialty, and he made it yummy. He had issues about talking about his weight. He did not like to talk about it. Some young news guy was saying, so what do you think about, do you have an issue talking about with your weight? Luther was like, hell yeah, I don't even like to talk to you about it right now. I'm here to talk about my album. I do not want to talk about my weight. Damn it. Yeah, I got an issue with you asking me that right now. I was like, then he said J Records wanted him to talk about it, like let it be a human interest story. Because I think the last album had a lot to do with his weight, I guess. They finally released his album. They talked about his weight loss, but he was so stressed about that he wound up gaining the weight back. So Jamie says that if as fans, we would have told him that we loved him no matter what. No matter he was big or small, we loved you. You didn't have to do that. I think he was just in his mind pressured, or maybe the executives wanted him to be a certain size. I don't know. But standing up there, barely moving, when he was slimmer, he wasn't sweating like that. But when he was bigger, he was standing still. Of course, he had the sequence and all of the clothes and the lights and the heat from the people. Yeah, you're going to sweat, but I think that he wasn't expecting it to be like that all the time. And it was a problem. It's like his friend was like, you need to stop that. He was like, look, I obsess about food all the time. She was like, oh. Robin was like, oh, I didn't know it was like that deep. He's like, yeah, I think about it. When I get up in the morning, I think about it. When I go to bed, all day, I'm thinking about food. So I think he should have gotten some type of nutritionist, as well as like go to a psychologist, because it could have been also, if he was battling his sexuality, you cope with eating things and doing things that help soothe you. So if he couldn't have that love there, guess what he had love for? He said, food never let me down. She said, unfortunately, Robin was like, yes, it has, honey. It has. So I went off script. Sorry, y'all. But he wrote a song. He went into the studio because he stayed in the studio all the time, day in and out, because he wanted to get this last album out with J Records. And I think that he was eating a lot while he was doing all the studio time. And so one of his last hits was Dance With My Father. And I remember that. I didn't like it. I didn't like Dance With My Father. But again, he wrote it. He made money off of it. So he wrote this song and he told Fonzie, he was like, look, I got this song and I want you to listen to. He said, come to the studio. So it was like in the midnight. Fonzie was like, okay, cool. I'll be over there. He's like, man, after I heard that song, my face was wet. I couldn't stop crying. And it was called Dance With My Father. It's really charming. It's really a charming song. And then we see Miss Mary Ida Vandross, honey. And she loved that song, of course. She said it grabbed her. And after he recorded it, he released it, and then he had that stroke. His personal little assistant was looking for him. And he said they had just built this huge oak door, I think it was. And so somehow he broke in and he went in there. He said it was silence. He didn't hear anything. I'm sorry, Luther. I came in here. I know that you probably are tired or whatever. I know you didn't want me in here. I had to come and check up on you. And then he said, he looked. When I tell you that man got choked up, Max, I think that's his name, Max, got choked the fuck up. I don't know if he got choked up because he found him, or he loved him, or he was in love with him, or what it was. But the hurt that he showed on the screen was different than it was with Fonzie, Robin, and Carlos. It was different. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it. He suffered a massive stroke and which left him in critical condition. He never thought that would happen to him. So Dance With My Father became the #1 song that year, I remember. And he finally won his 2nd Grammy. So his co-producer went up there and accepted the award. And he was the one. He can't stand Patti LaBelle because he was dragging her a little bit on this movie. He really, really was. And so he took the Grammy to the hospital to share it with him. But because Luther was kind of like not into it, he saw it, but then he didn't. But eventually he got a little bit better. And Clive, here go Clive again. He's getting better so we could get another album like he did Damn Whitney. You can't even let the person get out the hospital before you want to plan a tour or have them do another album. So Luther was slowly. Then another thing, They show him, you know, Luther had clearly gained weight, and you could tell that he had a side smile because of the stroke. But Clive, I know you ain't got nothing right here, but why is your hair still black right all around here? You ain't got no snow on top? I can't believe that. You 150 years old. Why you still got black hair all right here? I don't believe that. I don't believe that's your black hair. I'm sorry. He was slowly recovering, and he had a final interview with Oprah. He thanked his fans for caring for him. He wanted to get better and get better at living with the stroke that he had, and it being the last chapter of his life. He knew that it was going to come to an end. So then finally, Fozzy and the friends got a call that Luther had stopped breathing in the hospital. And he was like, what you mean she stopped breathing? He stopped, well, I'm saying she, because that's how I could hear them saying, when my mom passed away, I could hear like her husband and everybody said, she stopped breathing. And I was like, what you mean she stopped breathing? So I said she, but I meant to say he. Fozzy said, what do you mean he stopped breathing? And when they got there, he said, Robin, him, and Carlos has got there. And he said, we were just holding my friend. We just was holding my friend. And then the crowd gathered at his funeral. It was very star-studded. The only people I could see was like Sissy Houston, Dionne Warwick, Usher, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, Valerie Simpson, Alicia non-singing keys, Stevie Wonder, Patti with her loud-ass yellow dress at a funeral. Patti, why? I didn't know. You and Aretha really, I think Aretha had on maybe a lighter yellow, but yours was canary yellow. You wanted to be seen, honey. You just bouncing. Yes, Alicia non-singing keys. And his niece at the end confirmed that he finally fulfilled his journey, and he was able to get a star on the Walk of Fame. And that is Never Too Much by Mr. Luther Vandross. Great film. Like I said, I watched it twice. Because the first time I just wanted to watch it, you know, just enjoyment. I was sipping some wine and eating some popcorn. I just wanted to cross my legs on Friday and watch it. But now I was like, no, I'm going to do a review. Because, I'll do a recap. Let me get that in my mouth. Do a recap. Because I really love Luther. And I love the film. And, you know, I break down stuff. So it's nothing for me to make long form content on this channel. And that's why I was like, let me revamp this. Let me redo it. Because I'm going to be gone a while again anyway. So let me do something. And in honor of Luther Vandross, that was a really great film. Now, they're talking about releasing it, I think this year. May, November, one of them. And I don't know if it's going to get a lot of pull at the theaters. I really don't think. I think they should have just released it on Netflix or online like they did. Because most of us have already seen it. Ain't nobody paying to see that in the concert. They would in the theater. We ain't. I'm not. I've seen it twice. I'm not paying. I love the estate of Luther. But I just think that them showing it at the theaters isn't a disservice. I think that them just releasing it on TV like they did, let them commercials bring in them the coins and just make money off of that. I think that was great. I think that was great enough. But it was a good film. It showed how much of a hard worker he was, how serious he was about music. There was no plan B. No plan B. And he wanted to win a Grammy, and he wanted to be a singer and producer. Now, it had to go through some journeys to get there. He was one hell of a background singer, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted more, and he got more. So I'm really happy that I saw it, and I would do it again, but I ain't reviewing it or reacting to it or whatever you want to call it. But it was really good. I'm glad that I watched this. So thank you so much for coming to the Recap Auntie channel. I'm Shar. I am your Recap Auntie. This was my MUMU review for Never Too Much by Mr. Luther Vandross. I really loved him. That man's song helped me through so many tough, internal, low self-esteem times. It really did. It took me out of my world. And it took me to a place of feeling good, feeling the warmth of his voice, feeling peace, listening to the words. It was just, he took me to church in the most calming, in the most spiritual, in the most resurrecting way, because it made me believe in love. it made me feel that I had something in me that could draw the right people, a person to me. And he was so amazing. And I'm sure that he would have a lot to say in this generation that we're in now. But I'm really happy that I had a chance to watch it because I really wanted to watch it. I really did. Because I've heard so many great things about it. And I wanted to do something different like nobody else. Everybody did 20-minute videos. I wanted to break it down. Now, I might have skipped some stuff, but I tried to pick out the meat because, again, it was a 2.5-hour movie. That was with the commercials. So I'm going on a long time doing this video. So let me go. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I am the Recap Auntie Shar. And I'll be back. I'm thinking about there's something that's coming out at the end of this month, and I'm going to start reviewing and try to review it. Woo-wee! I'm going to try to. But I see a lot of people doing reality shows. I watch reality shows. But when you be having people dying and people divorcing and people fighting, I don't know if I like that. If it's scripted, yes. But when it's real life, that whole thing with Love and Marriage, Huntsville, I watch it. I do watch it. But with Kiki passing away, I'm like, it just turned my stomach. It took me a long time to look at that. It took me a long time to even think about. And the fact that Melanie is leaving, good for her. Good for her. I'm glad she's leaving. I didn't mean to squeeze that in at the end, but it's just gotten too much now. And people don't look the same like they used to when they first started. I know the money gives you access, but God knows. I don't know. So I'm going to be reviewing the soap opera Beyond the Gates daily. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do that. Whew. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to try. We're going to try to do Beyond the Gates. Once I get started with my show, it won't be so hard because my show's on the weekend, so in March. So I'm going to try to do Beyond the Gates. And it looks good. It looks good. And I'm doing it for me and in homage to my mom. My mom used to love watching soap operas, and I used to watch them too until they start taking them off the air. So Beyond the Gates is going to be like an all-black cast, and I cannot wait to watch it. So that is what I'm going to be focused on. It comes on February 28th, and I will be, oh, Lord, help me, give me strength that I can get through Beyond the Gates. So I think I might do like what this one person does. Like they watch it and then they pause it, do a review, and then do it again. So I can do the recap while I'm watching the show as it happens. So I might try to do it that way instead of taking notes. So anyway, y'all be good. I'm going on over an hour. Talking and running my mouth. I haven't seen y'all in a long time. How you doing? I know it ain't going to be too many people at the end of this video, but it's cool. How you doing? I'm doing good. You know, I got this show. It's called Still Magnolias. If you know the movie, I'm playing Shirley MacLaine's old character, Weezer. She was the old woman with the dog. So that is what I'm playing. So I have to be mean and be ornery and show those levels of how I can not be screaming all the time, but really, really have a good time. So, all right. Y'all take it easy. Be blessed. And I will be back soon unless something pops up. I will be back the 28th, I think. I'm going to watch the Super Bowl right now. Today, when it's dropped, it's going to be on tomorrow, which is Monday. So I'm ready to watch the Super Bowl, drink me another glass of wine, and chill. So y'all be good, be blessed. And again, we are the Recap Auntie. We had to rebrand. That other title was too long. Recap Auntie here. Y'all be blessed. Bye.